What if I told you that there's a man who walked so close to God that he never tasted death? A man who was taken alive into the heavens, not as a reward, but as a witness to secrets so terrifying, so earth-shaking, that they would make you question everything you thought you knew about the spiritual realm. His name was Enoch, and what he saw in those 10 heavens wasn't just glory and golden streets. He witnessed the control room of natural disasters. He walked through a prison where fallen angels scream in eternal torment. He stood before beings so magnificent and terrifying that his human mind could barely comprehend them. But here's what will keep you awake at night. Enoch discovered that every storm, every earthquake, every moment of your life has been recorded by angels before you were even born. He learned that some of heaven's most beautiful angels had fallen so far that they became humanity's greatest nightmare. And when Enoch finally stood before the throne of the Almighty, he wasn't the same man who left Earth. Something fundamental changed in him, something that transformed him from human into something else entirely. You think you know the story of heaven and hell? You think you understand the spiritual war raging around us? Think again. Because what Enoch witnessed will shatter every comfortable assumption you've ever held about the realm beyond our sight. Stay with me until the end of this journey, because the final revelation about what happened to Enoch will change how you see your own destiny forever. The night that changed everything. Enoch was 365 years old when it happened. Picture this. A man who had walked with God his entire life, suddenly jolted awake by a nightmare so vivid, so terrifying, that he found himself weeping uncontrollably. He didn't understand why. He couldn't shake the feeling that something monumental was about to unfold. Then they appeared. Two beings of such overwhelming presence that the very air around them seemed to bend and shimmer. Their faces blazed brighter than the sun at noon. Their eyes burned like living flames. Fire literally poured from their mouths as they spoke. Their wings shone with a radiance that made gold look dim, and their hands were whiter than freshly fallen snow. "Enoch!" Their voices thundered through dimensions. "Do not fear. The Lord has sent us to bring you into heaven." What happened next would make Enoch the only human being to ever return from the dead, while still alive. Heaven's first secret, the Weather Control Center. The first heaven shattered every assumption Enoch had about how the world worked. This wasn't some ethereal realm of clouds and harps. This was the cosmic headquarters of Earth's weather systems. Before him stretched an ocean twice the size of any sea on Earth. But this wasn't water. It was liquid light, teeming with power. 200 angels moved in perfect formation, each one controlling specific stars, directing their influence over earthly affairs. And then Enoch saw them, the storehouses, massive chambers filled with snow, waiting to be released. Vast reservoirs of storms and hurricanes, held back by angelic guards until the precise moment of their deployment. Every natural disaster that had ever struck Earth, every earthquake that had toppled cities, every flood that had reshaped continents, they all originated here. The truth hit Enoch like a physical blow. Nothing on Earth happens by chance. Every storm has been stored. Every disaster has been planned. Every moment of chaos serves a purpose in a design too vast for human minds to grasp. The prison of fallen angels, darkness beyond imagination. The second heaven nearly broke Enoch's mind. He found himself in darkness so complete, so oppressive, that it made earthly night seem like blazing daylight. The very air felt thick with despair, and then he heard them, the screams. chained in torment that defied description, were angels. Not demons, not monsters, angels. Beings who had once stood in the very presence of God, now reduced to shadows of their former glory, weeping and wailing in agony that would never end. "Why?" Enoch whispered, his voice barely audible in the crushing darkness. "They rebelled," came the answer from his angelic guide. "They chose Satan over the Creator. Now they suffer the consequences of their choice for all eternity." But what happened next sent chills through Enoch's transformed body. These fallen beings, these creatures of darkness and pain, saw him, a human, and their voices rose in desperate plea. "Man of God, pray for us, we beg you, pray for our torment to end." The irony was devastating. Angels, beings far superior to humans in power and knowledge, now begging a mortal man for intercession. It was a glimpse into the cosmic reversal that rebellion brings. The mighty brought low, the proud reduced to begging. Heaven's ultimate paradox. Paradise and hell side by side. The third heaven broke every theological assumption Enoch had ever held. On one side, paradise beyond imagination. The tree of life stood in magnificent splendor, its leaves shimmering gold and red like living flame. Its branches bore every type of fruit that had ever existed or ever would exist. 4 sacred rivers flowed from its base, one of honey, one of milk, one of oil, and one of wine. 300 angels surrounded this tree, their voices lifted in continuous worship, their songs weaving melodies so beautiful that Enoch felt his soul might tear apart from the sheer joy of hearing them. "This," his guide explained, "is for the righteous, those who helped the poor, who showed mercy to the suffering, who chose love over greed." But then Enoch turned and saw the other side, fire and ice existing in the same space, creating pain beyond human comprehension. A river of liquid flame flowing through glaciers that never melted, generating torment that multiplied exponentially. The screams that rose from this place made the cries of the fallen angels sound like whispers. "Who are they?" Enoch asked, though part of him already knew the answer would haunt him forever. Those who harmed children, those who practiced sorcery and witchcraft, the wealthy who hoarded their riches while the poor starved at their gates, those who worshipped idols instead of the Creator. Enoch staggered backward. "Wow! Wow!" he cried out, his voice breaking. "This place is absolutely terrifying." The juxtaposition was cosmic in its implications. Ultimate bliss and ultimate suffering, separated by mere steps. Every choice made on earth determining which side of eternity a soul would experience. The mechanics of the universe. Sun, moon, and hidden creatures. The fourth heaven revealed secrets that would make modern scientists weep. The sun, that massive ball of nuclear fusion that humanity takes for granted, was not running on autopilot. 150,000 angels controlled every aspect of its movement, its heat, its light output. They guided it through 12 mysterious gates, following a precise 28-year cycle that governed all earthly seasons and times. But even more shocking were the creatures Enoch encountered. Beings called Phoenix and Calidri. Picture creatures with the feet of lions and the heads of crocodiles, measuring 900 units in length, with 12 wings like those of angels. These cosmic beings sang praises that helped maintain the very rotation of celestial bodies. The revelation was staggering. The universe isn't a machine running on natural laws. It's a symphony conducted by countless intelligent beings, each playing their part in maintaining the delicate balance that keeps existence itself from collapsing into chaos. The silent giants, angels of regret. The fifth heaven contained perhaps the most heartbreaking sight Enoch would witness. The Grigori, massive angels larger than any earthly giant, stood in absolute silence. Their faces bore expressions of such profound sadness that Enoch felt his heart breaking just looking at them. These were the angels who had made the ultimate mistake. 3 of their number had descended to earth, had fallen in love with human women, had married them and produced offspring. Their children became the Nephilim, the giants whose violence and corruption had nearly destroyed the world before the flood. Now these mighty beings stood in eternal mourning, weeping for their fallen brothers, living with the knowledge that their own kind had corrupted God's perfect creation. They were trapped between their angelic nature and their grief, unable to move forward, unable to forget. The lesson was clear and terrifying. Even angels can fall. Even beings who stand in God's presence can make choices that lead to eternal regret. If angels aren't immune to temptation and failure, what hope do humans have? The record keepers. Your life is an open book. The sixth heaven shattered any illusion of privacy or anonymity. 7 groups of angels, each blazing brighter than the sun, stood with scrolls, books, and writing instruments that defied earthly description. Their task was both simple and terrifying. They were recording everything. Every soul that had ever been born. Every action that had ever been taken. Every word that had ever been spoken. Every thought that had ever been conceived. All of it was being meticulously documented and presented before the throne of the Almighty. Your entire life, Enoch's guide explained, has been recorded since before you were born. Every choice you will make, every path you will take, every consequence you will face, it's all being written down. The implications were staggering. Free will existed, but so did divine foreknowledge. Humans made choices, but those choices were being observed and recorded by beings with perfect memory and unlimited time. The army of fire, approaching the throne, the seventh heaven revealed military precision on a scale that dwarfed every earthly army. 9 distinct companies of angels stood in perfect formation, each group representing different levels of heavenly authority. Cherubim with multiple eyes that saw everything. Seraphim whose wings covered their faces because even they could not look directly upon God's glory. Armies of fire that moved as one, their very presence generating waves of power that rippled through dimensions. And beyond them all, Enoch could see it in the distance. The throne of God, blazing with light so intense that looking directly at it would have instantly vaporized any earthly being. The hierarchy was evident, the order absolute. Every being knew their place, their purpose, their role in the cosmic order. It was beautiful and terrifying in equal measure, the perfect organization of ultimate power. The final ascent, facing the Creator. The 8th and 9th heavens passed in a blur of cosmic revelations. The Mazaloth controlled the seasons and weather patterns with precision that made earthly meteorology look like guesswork. The Kuchavim contained the 12 constellations, each one influencing human destiny in ways that astrologers could never imagine. But then came the 10th heaven, and Enoch's world shattered completely. The face of the Almighty appeared before him, like iron glowing white-hot in a furnace, shooting sparks in every direction. The throne was beyond description, not made by any hands, not constructed from any material that existed in creation. It simply was, radiating power and majesty that made every other sight pale in comparison. Countless cherubim and seraphim surrounded the throne, their voices rising in worship that shook the foundations of reality. Holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty. And Enoch, this mortal man who had walked through 10 heavens, who had seen wonders and horrors beyond imagination, fell on his face in absolute terror. Every fiber of his being recognized that he was in the presence of the source of all existence, the creator of every atom, every star, every thought, every possibility. The transformation, becoming something more. What happened next changed Enoch forever. The archangel Michael approached and began to remove Enoch's earthly clothes. But as each garment fell away, something incredible occurred. Sacred oil was poured over Enoch's body, oil that shone brighter than any earthly light, that smelled sweeter than morning dew, that penetrated every cell of his being. Then came the garments of glory, clothing that belonged to God Himself, woven from light and power and divine essence. As these garments touched Enoch's skin, his very nature began to change. He was no longer human. He was no longer bound by the limitations of flesh and blood. He had become something new, a being that existed between humanity and divinity, transformed into a living bridge between earth and heaven. The ultimate revelation, writing the secrets of creation. The angel Praviel approached Enoch with a commission that would have overwhelmed any mortal mind. In just 30 days and nights, Enoch was to write down everything, every secret of the universe, every hidden mystery, every truth that even angels didn't fully understand. 366 books flowed from Enoch's transformed hands. Books containing the secrets of creation itself, the destinies of every soul ever born, the mysteries of time and space and eternity. And then came the final revelation, words that even now send chills through the spiritual realm. I have created everything from nothing, God declared. Even my angels do not know this secret. Only you have been permitted to hear it. Enoch had been given the ultimate privilege and the ultimate burden. He alone among humans had been allowed to peek behind the curtain of reality and see how everything truly worked. The question that should haunt us all. So here we stand, at the end of Enoch's impossible journey. A man who walked through the very control rooms of reality, who witnessed both the ultimate glory and the ultimate horror that await human souls, who was transformed from flesh into something that transcends our understanding. But Enoch's story isn't really about Enoch, is it? It's about us. It's about you. Right now, as you listen to these words, angels are recording your thoughts. Your choices are being written in books that will be opened when your time comes to stand before that blazing throne. The same forces that Enoch witnessed, the weather angels, the recording angels, the armies of fire, they're all still there, still working, still watching. The fallen angels who begged Enoch for prayer, they made their choice when they had everything. The souls in torment, they chose temporary pleasure over eternal joy. The righteous in paradise, they chose to help the poor, to show mercy, to serve love instead of serving themselves. Every day, every moment, you're writing your own chapter in those cosmic books. The question isn't whether spiritual reality exists. Enoch proved that beyond doubt. The question is, which side of eternity are you choosing with your life? Are you like the wealthy who ignored the suffering around them? Are you pursuing power and pleasure while missing the eternal significance of simple kindness? Or are you walking the path that leads to that tree of life, where every fruit of righteousness awaits? Enoch became immortal not because he was perfect, but because he walked with God. He sought truth over comfort, meaning over material success, divine purpose over earthly security. The same choice stands before you today. The same cosmic forces that surrounded Enoch surround you now. The same recording angels, the same divine mercy, the same eternal consequences. What will your story say when it's read before the throne of the Almighty? If this journey through Enoch's revelation has stirred something in your spirit, if it's made you question what really matters in this brief earthly existence, then share this story. Let others wrestle with these eternal questions. Like this video if it's opened your eyes to realities beyond the physical world. Subscribe if you want to explore more of these hidden truths that can transform how you see everything. Because in the end, we're all on our own journey toward that 10th heaven. The only question is, will we arrive as Enoch did, transformed by divine encounter? Or will we find ourselves on the wrong side of that cosmic divide, wishing we had made different choices when we still had time? The angels are watching. The books are being written. Your story is unfolding right now. Choose wisely.